Do, 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 do. This is such a perfect time for music. And I have none. And I have none. So I'm just preparing all my salad ingredients. All right. So what am I doing here? Just finished washing my greens. And slowly starting to figure it out. Okay, so hi, it's me, Robbie. And right now nobody is here, but I'm going to continue to put this out there in the world because I am having such amazing conversations with myself in my head that I thought, how can I stop doing this so intensely? Make some food. And then I remembered now that I'm eating more raw or just, trying to fit in raw food, that it takes a long time to slice and dice and chop and prepare stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. The house I'm in is amazing. Yes. And the people who live in this amazing house are also amazing, like the house. That's why the house is amazing, because the people are amazing. And it's an amazing kitchen to cook in. And I'm not much of a cook, but this kitchen, this household, makes me want to be my best self. It is just chocked full of love and blessings. So let's have this conversation. Today is April 20th, and I have been, so last year I spent some time in therapy with a cognitive doctor who was trying to assist my rewired brain to get back in order. And what I discovered is that my brain has never been in order. So cognitive therapy was on many levels huge for my life, period. So I now keep my calendar very differently. And I learned that with Dr. Amanda Childs at NYU. So as I'm looking at my calendar today, I scheduled for myself the start of a new pharmaceutical for MS called Ocrevus. Now, if you don't know anything much about MS, I'm going to try to catch you up really quickly. MS has probably been around as long as dysfunctional living has been around, like all these other illnesses that we call autoimmune diseases. They've all been around, for a while, but not predominantly. Not until this time are these illnesses predominant because people are so stressed out, so overtaxed. The environment has a lot of chemicals and toxins and shit in it. We use a lot of shit. We make a lot of shit. We are just trash makers. So we're living in a world that's pretty trashy. We know that animals are becoming extinct, right? We have 1/3 of the animals left on the planet that were originally here. And I don't know how many plants we have left, but it's similar. And here we are in the middle of this whole thing as human beings trying to live and breathe and be healthy. But we get these autoimmune illnesses for all those reasons that I just stated to you about people, time, things are trashy, things are dirty. We make stuff, we leave a mess, we don't clean up, it rots, it spoils. And then, like we mess with things, we mess with nature. So our environment has been toxic for a while. These illnesses have been around for a while, but they're predominant now. And I caught one. I caught an illness called multiple sclerosis. Like, how do you catch multiple sclerosis, right? Is it like an STD? Not as much fun. It's much more fun to get an STD than it is to get like an autoimmune illness, even though they're kind of one and the same. One illness, some of us believe there is one illness. It's like when the body is broken, the esophagus, right? The thing that we are living in to be here. This isn't me. This is the shell that I'm in. This is the body that I'm occupying right now at this time. But it's not me. Me is within here. Me you can't see, but I know who I am. And I can live my life in a way that shows you who I am, or I can live my life in a way that hides who I am. And so when you do stuff like that to the inside of yourself, and then you're living in this trashy, toxic environment, and some other factors, you don't eat well, you don't eat organic, healthy things, you eat stuff out of plastic packaging or something, I don't know. You compromise your body's ability to be its best self. So usually we're born with a pretty good body. Unless there's some other stuff that's in your karma that you're coming here with. So you're born with this great body and you're either given mother's milk and that takes care of that great new body that you have, or you have something else. And so begins the challenge of the immune system. I'm proud to say that I did have natural births with my daughters. And for the most part, all of my life, I've lived a really healthy, clean life. I had a couple of years where I was into fast food and I had a real unhealthy lifestyle because of the business that I'm in, the entertainment business that I'm in or long to be in, or I guess I've longed to be in it because the business that I wound up in is kind of parallel to the entertainment business and very entertaining, but it is not the entertainment business. I spent some time in the entertainment business when I was a background singer. And you have to have some balls to be there. And I have balls. I have boobies and I have balls. Don't get me wrong. But I just decided that I didn't want to have my balls beat up so much. And I didn't want to use my balls because I'm basically a booby-having girl. And that ballsy part of me, I didn't really want to have to be that. And right around the time that my background singing career was doing well, I became a mom. And that was interesting. Interesting is a word that I use often to mean that expression for things that you just cannot explain with words. So, interestingly enough, I began to really focus on raising these little children and how I could be the best self that I could be for them. And I started out with having them naturally, eating organically and nutritionally when I was pregnant, and not really doing anything toxic. Right before I conceived my firstborn daughter, I partied a lot. I was hanging out with a lot of like homosexual guys who were a lot of fun to party with, but had really, really bad habits and used drugs and drank a lot of liquor and smoked cigarettes. So I would hang out with my crowd, my theater crowd, and they were really toxic and unhealthy practitioners. Great people, but healthy life practitioners, they were not. We were not. We were young, and I hung out with them real tough and had fun because I wanted to have experiences. So I had some experiences, not major experience. I never did crack, but I came close because cocaine is kind of close to crack, right? It's called crack cocaine. It's a form of cocaine, crack, the form that cheap people buy. But those of us with money and in the music industry, we have access to other things. So, you know, been there, done that, and then got married and had a baby. My life changed, you know, instantly my life changed, and it was not anything that I wanted to participate in. And so I figured that just by changing my life in that moment and doing it differently, that was cool. But the damage had already been done to my immune system and my gut biome. You know, I had been vaccinated as a child. I had this realization the other day that my mother never really liked me as a child. She loved me because she was my mommy. But who I was as a person, she was not thrilled with. You know, I was like this really theatrical little kid who always was imagining and imagining and imagining and dreaming stuff. I used to meditate. I used to have this like musical meditation that I would do with my eyes closed in my room, and my family would come in my room and I wouldn't hear them because I was deep in my meditational trances, and I was actually time traveling. I time traveled. And my family would come in the room and say, "What's wrong with you? Are you mentally ill?" So from a very, very young age, I knew what it felt like to not be accepted and liked, because it started in my home. Eating meat started in my home. I don't think I was a meat eater, but my home was a home of meat eaters. I ate meat. That's what I was fed. I was the baby. I grew up in that environment. But now that I'm working it out with my MS, I'm finding that like I actually like to eat vegetables more than anything. And I'm digging raw vegetables. They're not so bad. And they're really tasty. Like fennel is awesome. And these are like zucchini, all the things I'm putting in my salad. Some cucumber. I put some cucumber in my salad. Like all of these things are in this kitchen and in the stores to buy, but if you don't know about them and you don't know to choose them, you won't buy these things. Or if you do, I don't know how often I use them. I didn't make salads and stuff. My parents were farmers. They came from the South. My dad from a reservation in Mississippi. My mom from a plantation. Two, actually. One in Virginia and then one in, I think, North Carolina or South Carolina. And my family had land gifted to them after slavery ended. So I have direct bloodline to Native and African people. And I don't think that they ate a lot of meat. I am of the bloodline of Choctaw and Cherokee people who killed very seldom, especially to eat. They ate off the land mostly. But generations later, I go to McDonald's and feed my kids from our favorite restaurants in the neighborhood. Terrible. But you don't know these things. So that's why I'm making this video today, to have a discussion with everybody and to talk to you about such topics. Like, how do we ever know? How are we ever taught? When are we taught about eating healthy? Because it has to do with the thin one-layer membrane of our gut that once damaged won't be repaired easily and will wreak havoc when our gut leaks out and things leak in. Foods that are undigested leak out, and our body, our immune system responds to fight that bacteria, that foreign object that entered our bloodstream through our broken, leaky gut. We're talking about it now in 2018, but I was born in 1964. We didn't talk about this then. What we were talking about was, Dr. King and what he was saying. And had he not been killed 50 years ago this month, he might have been talking about health and nutrition as well. Because the main thing is that we all are here together. We're all like the same relative. It's the same energy. We all come from the same energy. We are brothers and sisters. We're cousins, however you want to look at it. We're fucking all related to each other. Yet, we don't treat each other like we're related to each other. We treat each other like we are like strangers that we got to protect ourselves from, instead of loving family members with open arms. And part of the reason why we, meaning me, every time I say we or you, I'm talking about me. I'm doing the finger pointing, right? But my 3 fingers are pointing back to me, so I'm really talking to me. Don't get it twisted. So why do we not treat ourselves like family? Why do we not treat ourselves like we're in love with ourselves? Like we are the best thing ever that came along? Why do we not look out for ourselves? Like be preventive for ourselves all the time? Not some of the time, but all the time. Why don't we just love ourselves more and forgive ourselves more and have more compassion for ourselves and more understanding for ourselves? Why don't I do a better job at just giving myself a break and credit for being awesome as I am? I don't know why I don't do that. Maybe because my mother didn't like me and I felt that way as a child, so I learned that feeling inside. And then I didn't like it, so I hid it, I put it away. But it's still there, so it comes back every now and again. And then they say that hurt people hurt people. I never thought of myself as hurt, but when I just told you that story, you realize that I was hurt, and I've been hurting. And I not purposely did that to myself. It just has occurred in my existence because of my unawareness to exactly who I am and where I come from. So, I've said all of this to say that today I was supposed to go to the infusion center at NYU for my monthly treatment for my multiple sclerosis. But, multiple sclerosis that's been around for a long time doesn't have an explanation of why it happens other than like your immune system is weakened and then your body starts to attack the myelin sheath on your brain, the nerves, and then you have brain damage, and the brain damage and nerve damage causes other damages in your body. They don't know why. They don't have a cure for it. They don't know how to do very much, but they have figured out some drugs that can slow it down because it just progresses until you become so fucked up. You can't walk, you can't feed yourself, you can't piss, you wear diapers, and then you die. So today I was supposed to go for this new pharmaceutical called Ocrevus. And it's new on the market. It's made it through the trials. Nobody died. People say that they are feeling great taking Ocrevus. But you have to watch out for breast cancer, scare, and something else. But otherwise, there's really no bad side effects about it. And it's a clear liquid in a bag that takes 8 hours to infuse into your bloodstream and for your body to start to absorb. And during that 8 hours, they accompany the infusion with a Benadryl drip. Benadryl drip. So you can go to sleep for 6, 7 of those 8 hours. And then wake up fully infused, enthused, and better. And then you go back 2 weeks later and you do another couple of hours of an infusion. And then you don't have to come back again for 6 whole months. Yep. That little clear bag of magic holds your immune system at bay, stops it from working for 6 whole months. And while it's not working, the MS stops. Your body doesn't attack the myelin sheath on the nerves, and your disease does not progress. But I'm thinking, if you can do that to my multiple sclerosis disease, oh clear bag of Ocrevus liquid, what are you doing to the rest of me that needs an immune system to be working, prepared to defend? What happens to that part of the immune system? And doesn't my gut have something to do with my immune system? So, like, what does this drug have to do with my gut biome? Is it a probiotic? Well, can somebody tell me exactly what it is? And I think they have pharmaceutical reps that do that. I believe my sister-in-law was a pharmaceutical rep for the Merck company. And I think Vioxx was one of her drugs. Yeah, she doesn't work for Merck anymore. They offered her an early retirement shortly after Vioxx was extremely successful. Remember Vioxx? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure of all the things that this miracle drug does. And at the same time, they have some other stuff, even some stuff that they found was over the counter for like an antihistamine that's over the counter that can be beneficial to the immune system and everything that I'm talking about. And they're still in trials. They're still being worked on, but nobody really knows. But they do the trials for the X amount of time. Nobody dies. They get it approved by the FDA. And then it's a waiting game to see, you know, over the years, over 10 years, over 20 years, how you do. So I'm wondering, if I skip that part of treatment, and I go directly to like Dr. Sebi and Dr. Terry Walls and Dr. Mark Hyman, and so many people who, thanks to YouTube, I want to shout out to YouTube right now. So you know, people have amazing channels where they're able to document their findings and their work, and the homeopathic community is doing much, much better because of YouTube and the ability for practitioners like me, a sound practitioner, to reach out to people and enlighten them and share the knowledge that we have. And I don't know about other light workers or practitioners, healing practitioners, but I'm starting to not do it for money. You know, like I've actually never done it for money since I started to learn that this was something that you could do, and I felt an attraction to know more. And then I actually I had an audition for a company that worked with sound and guided meditations, and it opened up this whole world to actually have a job that I was able to go to be trained on, to learn about sound healing And that happened at like the most horrible period of my life. Oh my God. I was going through the most wretched situation of being homeless, being familyless, feeling unloved, feeling unwanted, feeling just the most horrible that I've ever felt, feeling unnecessary to exist on the planet, and trying to kill myself. I've tried to kill myself 4 times recently. Recently. And when I say recently, I mean within the last 3 years. Okay? That's recent. It's far behind me today, April 20th. It's 420. Shout out 420. Yeah. It's a long time ago for me now, because I've come so far. Like, when I was trying to kill myself, I certainly wasn't trying to eat this. I was looking for a way out, and I couldn't find one, because no matter what way I would turn to get out, all roads would lead me back to here, where I'm at now, talking to you. Still in the United States, still in New York, still, you know, whatever. All roads led me back to here. This is fennel. No, this is anise. I've never, until I was here, tried anise. It's really tasty in a salad. So is celery. But I don't eat tomatoes or peppers, and mushrooms, so those things are not in my salad yet. But today I'm adding radicchio, endive, zucchini, anise, red leaf lettuce, all sorts of sprouts, red clove leaves. I might even add some moringa to my salad. I might add some moringa to my salad as well. And I'm going to skip the vinegar today because I don't want to be so acidic. And I'm slowly giving up the acidic. You know, I was conditioned to eat meat, but I'm slowly not eating as much meat, so that's good. Anyway, this pharmaceutical, I'm supposed to be taking it today, but I'm choosing not to take it. Choosing to just meditate and have a salad instead. This is endive. This is a first, but I'm going to use endive today. And I'm going to cut it from the bottom because I don't know how to really cut it after I wash it. But I'm liking endive already. And I still might have a little protein with this. I might either have some salmon or some shrimp. But I'm stopping the red meat and the chicken because I don't want to eat dead animals, and I don't want to have an animal killed, especially in a disrespectful way, for my consumption. I don't think it's for my benefit. There's this man, besides Dr. Terry Walls and the Dr. Terry Walls protocol for MS and other autoimmune illnesses, besides Dr. Hyman, that is also talking about the other parts of self that need healing and how to get there. I also listen to Dr. Sebi, S-E-B-I. I'll include these names below so that you can research them or look them up yourself if you are trying to find the way to rid yourself of a dysfunctional body and body systems. It takes years to repair and reverse what we spent years doing. You know, I didn't figure it out till I was in my 50s. So kind of like savings. I didn't do anything when I was younger. And so now that I'm getting older, I'm like, wait a minute. I need to be healthy so I can keep going. So Dr. Sebi talks about the need for people like me, and maybe you, the people like me, we have a need for African cell food. Yeah? So Dr. Sebi explains that gorillas in the mist with Jane Goodall, right? Gorillas in the mist eat what they eat. They eat gorilla food. They don't eat lion food. And the lion lives where he lives, in the jungle, in the forest, in the nature. And he eats what he eats, but he does not eat gorilla food. And then you have the alligators living where they live and eating alligator food. But we're like the only creature on the planet that eats other types of food, other creatures' food. So, why we drink cow's milk and not human milk? Oh, we used to, but then we changed. When was that? In the early 1900s, I bet, right? Right around the time that Copyright Office came around and ASCAP and BMI came around the 1930s, when the medical profession came around, and Dr., what was his name, Sims, was experimenting on African slaves prior to that, experimenting with gynecology, and then he figured it out. But by 1930, he was able to use anesthesia and take it to the white women that needed gynecological support. Around that time, we started to drink formula. Nestle, the company, corporations, started to really get into manufacturing food, to the point that they even manufacture the seeds in the dirt now. Oh, we don't even need dirt now, do we? Yeah, we do. Because in the dirt are the minerals. So Dr. Sebi teaches that, you know, being of African DNA and genetics and Native American genetics, my ancestors ate a whole different way than I've been eating. And that has something to do with my body's malfunctioning. So if we were to shift the way that we eat, we would be able to address all sorts of things that are not right, especially with our health. So I kind of believe in that. And I did not go today to NYU for my Ocrevus 8-hour infusion, which I was going to do without the Benadryl for 8 hours. So I didn't do it. And the nurse, one of the nurses, called to say, like, yo, you didn't come in here today, and you're officially like 2 months out from taking your meds. And we know statistically that MS will come back when you stop taking Tysabri. The one that I stopped, it makes your system overreact, so that when the medicine stops keeping my immune system held back, everything that's been held back jumps out so hard and strong because it's pissed off, it's been held back, and then it gets busy again. But I'm thinking, I'm ready. And I've been talking to my body, I've been talking to God, and God's been leading me to fast and to pray and to eat better, to sleep better, to love better, and to live better. So I've been doing all of those things. And that's why I'm posting today, to see if you have any thoughts or opinions about any of the stuff that I'm talking about. So for my friends that have MS, I know some of you take these drugs that I'm talking about. I know for a fact that you do, because I've gone to see you when you're getting your infusion. Or when I get mine, I run into you getting yours. So I know you go and take this drug. I know that many of my friends with MS are in wheelchairs and scooters, supplementing the way they get around with walkers. Especially the guys. The guys get hit with MS worse. So I know that you are all taking these medicines. But I really want to have like a more honest conversation in the community of those of us that are dealing with autoimmune illnesses and multiple sclerosis in particular, but also diabetes, Hashimoto's, lupus, all of them. There's more coming because the environment is changing and the stress levels are rising, and we're getting closer to singularity. And the amount of stress that's coming with that is fucking unbelievable. And then the option to not stress and just go deeper into the artificial intelligent world will be the choice that we take for healthcare instead of being healthy and eating right and trying to struggle to do that because it's going to be harder to have those resources as time goes on, to have food grown in dirt, when computers and artificial intelligence really start to help us live our lives, and then see how useless we are and how much trash we make and how we pollute the environment. The AI, who doesn't need anything but power, they don't need sun, they don't need water, they don't need land, they don't need air. We do. They are gonna be controlling it. If you don't realize that now about singularity, hello, wake up and smell the green beans. Singularity is all about this device that you're looking at me on, that we're communicating through, being able to help you more. You know, like you're now like, Siri, where's the nearest Red Lobster? Siri, is there a dry cleaners nearby? What was introduced this year? Virtual assistants. There's still people on the other side that has to do the research, but once that database is populated, AI will be our virtual assistants. Who needs secretaries anymore when you have Sophia or one of these other machines? And they make them so pretty because they know the psychology of what we consider beauty. So they make them to look beautiful. But AI is not beautiful. Computers running things and doing things is not beautiful. Computers being so smart that they don't even need us to program them anymore is not beautiful. Programs who don't need us to program them anymore, who can program themselves, that we can't even unplug anymore, not beautiful. So if you've liked any of this discussion today, which I hope you have, it's been 40 minutes of your time that you've taken with me, and I bless you and thank you for doing that. I ask you to like and subscribe to this channel and continue to stay in dialogue with me. I'm going to trip the light fantastic and play around with the concept that God loves me and that God provides my every want and need, because I really do believe that. I believe that I am rich, my life is abundant, and I am extremely blessed. I'm a musician, I'm an actor, I'm a storyteller, I'm a sound practitioner, and I help people with essential